Hi everyone, I'm so pleased to be back in your workshops and your sheds. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited to give this first presentation about drills, cordless drills. And when I first got my fancy drill years ago, I didn't know what all the numbers were for. And even when I picked up my Ryobi drill recently and it lit up like a Christmas tree, I still felt a little confused. I reckon there's 6 things that we need to think about with your cordless drill. 4 of them are really straightforward and the other 2 not so much. The trigger, that's the first one, that's the easiest one. This one here, fast and slow. Pull it gently. It will go slowly, pull it fast and it will go fast. Easy. Okay, second. Is the chuck. Now this bit on the end here is called a chuck. They've all got a chuck unless they're an impact driver, and we will talk about that in another time. The chuck has 3 jaws in there. Can you see that? And they are going to grab on to whatever you put in there, whether it be a round shank like these 2 or a hex shank with the flat sides. The flat sides I find are the hardest ones to put in, because if you put them in any old way, they can sort of wobble a bit and go around like that, and then you know that it's not in properly. So make sure that when you pop it in, that it's not the gap. You're not grabbing onto the gap here with the jaws, that it's actually tightening on those facets, because they come down like that. If you've got an old-fashioned one that has a key instead of just this keyless chuck, then you'll have a little key that you wind. Make sure you wind the 3 holes, because you want to tighten all of those 3 jaws to get a good clasp. Now sometimes they can just fall out. You're working away and they go plop and they just fall out. And that's just the nature of this chuck. It just doesn't hold them as well as perhaps an impact driver where they're locked in. Don't worry about that. The other thing that can make them fall out, and I found this out the hard way, is a worn out shank. This part here is been gripped onto rather viciously over the years, and it just will not hold in place anymore. So that could be another reason why it's not hanging on. Okay, the third one is the forward and reverse. And when you're going forward, the chuck will go rotate clockwise, and when you're going the opposite way, it'll be anti-clockwise. But sometimes from this direction it feels all upside down, or it does for me. So the easiest way I remember is that my pointing finger, which is sort of pointing forward, is the side where if I depress it, I'm going forwards, I'm going clockwise. And my thumb, which is sometimes a bit hard to reach on this Makita, click, ooh, is anti-clockwise. So pointer goes forward and thumb goes reverse. If you're left-handed, you'll have to figure it out, sorry. But a good carpenter friend of mine told me that, Miss Sophie, and I'm going to get her to come on here with me and chat with you, because she's just a dynamo with power tools. So she taught me that. Thank you, Sophie. Now, has anybody heard of a spindle lock? I haven't heard of a spindle lock. The spindle lock is for 2 purposes, so I found out. It is so that when you pick it up, you can't turn it on accidentally. And it is here. It's in the middle of the reverse and forward thing. So right there, it won't do anything. So if, say you're in a roof, or you're somewhere in a small space and you reached up and you're trying to get your drill and then it went off, and it spun sort of sideways is not very good. But if you pop it on that spindle lock, it won't go off. Now the other reason is really curious, and I only learnt this the other day, is that if you've got a screw in your wood and you don't want to use the powerfulness of it, and you want to just drive that screw a little bit more, and you haven't got a screwdriver with you in your back pocket, you can use this as a manual screwdriver. So you can actually pop that in and turn it manually without the trigger at all. Who would have thought it?